Okay, so, um, I'm not wearing anything fancy. I just decided to paint my face and put on my favorite wig for this kind of video. Um, and it's kind of personal, and it's not a video I expected to make. Um, but I wanted to kind of talk about, um, I guess, my side, and I guess I can't speak for everyone, you know. I'm just speaking for me, myself and what I've seen um, with Drag Battle being canceled. Um, and keep in mind, me, Izzy, and Crystal were one of the original casts, along with Lavender Skies, but I'll kind of get into that. And Slappy put up a video. I'm not editing any of this. I'm just going to pop this straight up onto YouTube, probably. And Slappy made a video originally about it being canceled, but he kind of made it in the heat of the moment kind of thing. I know I talked to him, and he said there's things he said that he regrets, and things he should have worded better, and it was just a heat of the moment thing. But I want to put my side out for it, before kind of shit hits the fan here. So, back when we first started, we originally had, I think, 9 queens. I think that's right. It is me, Crystal, Izzy, Lavender Skies, Oxygen, Rami, Candy, Monroe, and someone else that I'm forgetting. Well, there was 9 queens originally, I think. It's been such a long time. I'll get to that kind of later with the long time thing. Anyways, at least 4 girls quit before we started the season. So we brought in 2 more girls, and went from there. So we went from 9 to 7. So then it was me, Izzy, Crystal, Lavender Skies, Oxygen, Vanessa Volpix, and Adrena. So, we got to episode 2 of this first season, and Lavender left, and Oxygen left, both at the same time, after me and Izzy had already gotten eliminated. So technically our top 3 was Crystal, Adrena, and Vanessa for our first season. Well, Slappy thought that was way too soon to have a top 3. So we all discussed, and we said, let's ditch this season and reboot it. So this is a season you guys didn't get to see at all. So we decided to reboot again and get 3 more girls to replace Oxygen and Lavender Skies. And we gained Oxygen back first. So Oxygen left, and then she came back. So then it was me, Izzy, Crystal, Oxygen, Adrena, Vanessa, Lavender Frost. Fuck. You should still be able to hear me. And Anastasia Heroine. So, 8 queens. Okay. And then we rebooted the season. So, this was the season 2. This is the season you guys saw on what started. And keep in mind, at this point, when this finally all happened, when we started getting an episode out, me, Izzy, and Crystal had been in this since July. June or July, roughly. So, Jesus Christ, this thing's loud. I'm sorry. Should I just, move somewhere quieter? Let's just try and move somewhere quieter. Okay? Okay. So, came inside so we could avoid the heater. So, yeah. So, when episode 1 came out, me, Crystal, and Izzy had been in this race for a while. At least 6 to 7 months. Actually, no, it was a little bit less than that. 5 or 6. So, because I think the first episode came around October. So, because it was around Halloween-ish, roughly. So, October, November. And between episode 1 and episode 2, obviously there was a huge break for the holidays. So that was another 2-3 months. So by the time this year, January, rolled around, it had been 8 months. 8 months that me, Crystal, and Izzy had been kind of dragged along with this, no pun intended. So, and it was getting to a point with us, where we were getting really tired, and there wasn't a lot of structure, and I'm not here to bash Slappy. That's not what this is about. It's just to talk about what happened and what happened with us. So, I mean, it was just a lack of structure, and that comes with the fact that this is obviously Slappy's first time doing this. So I can't fault him in that sense. Yeah, so there was not a set structure. There was not a lot of, there was just a lot of nothing really going on. You know, it would just seem that, like, everything would just continue on and on and on and on. And hey, cat scratching. It just seemed like it would go on for so long, and I was getting fed up with it. I know Crystal was getting very, I guess anxious is the word. That's about the word I can give, because she would have to go to a friend's house and film, you know, and it was just becoming a point where we were just getting really, really tired, which sucked. So, because we like Slappy as a person. It was just the fact that there was no structure and nothing being handled the way it should, you know. And from my perspective, this is just my kind of opinion, I don't think anything was rigged. I don't think Slappy had a winner picked out. I don't think any of that. What I do know for a fact, though, is that he did have biases. He did favor certain contestants over others, and he made that very clear to all of us, which puts, you know, us at a kind of disadvantage, you know, because it makes us feel like, well, you know, how can we, you know, do well in this competition if we're being held to a bias, you know. And I know he made it clear several times that, no, I'm not letting my bias get to me, I'm not letting it, you know, make my judgments, but it's hard to think that, you know. It's hard not to think that when he's very vocal about the fact that, you know, he likes who he likes, you know, kind of awkward. And he's very vocal about who he does not like. And at some point there was, there was people messaging me that shouldn't have been messaging me about certain contestants, you know, out of the blue, nothing to it, you know. There was just too much involvement with the judges and the host in our conversations, in our Skype chats. There was a lack of structure. I felt like there was a lot of biases in the system, you know. And when you do a competition, you want to feel like you're in the right hands, and it just didn't feel right. So what happened is, before episode 3 came out, a couple days before our episode 3 deadline came out, Izzy announced that she was leaving the race, and she verbatim, 2 messages to Slappy from what she showed us, was kind of verbatim what me and a few other girls were talking about, you know, about how, and some of us were a little unhappy with how we were being edited, and how some people were being used more than others. Hey, there's a cat scratching. Jesus Christ. Oh, my cat's scratching. I'm sorry. um, yeah, well, some of us were unhappy with the way we were being edited, just because we would give a lot of stock footage or things he wanted, and they just weren't being used or not being used the way they should have. And I get, and I told him about this too, is I get that there's supposed to be a certain element of comedy in this, you know, but there's also kind of have to be an integrity to staying true to a queen's aesthetic or personality when it comes to the race. I feel like that wasn't fully shown, you know, with some of the girls, which sucks. Because basically we were made out to be caricatures of the queens that we were, you know, and our personalities, our drag personalities were not really shown too well. So yeah, Izzy said she was leaving the race before episode 3 started. And I had already talked about leaving in the first place, but I didn't say anything at this point. And I hadn't told Slappy, because I was just going to keep it to myself. I was going to see how episode 3 went, and see from there if things improved, and if not, then I would have left. Well, shortly thereafter Izzy leaving, Jacqueline Hyde came through and said she was also leaving the race. And Slappy said, well, because they've left, I'm going to... It started with Izzy leaving and Slappy saying if anyone else left, that drag battle would just be canceled. And that's when Jackie said I'm leaving, you know. And from there, it was just kind of a whirlwind of emotions. Slappy obviously got very emotional because this is his product. And I wouldn't expect him not to be emotional about it. You know, I don't think any of us expected for him to be like, oh yeah, it's totally fine, I get it, you know. Obviously, heat of the moment things. And I think the best analogy that was given was, he said, I just feel like the ball was kicked out from underneath me. And the response to that was, the ball wasn't kicked out from underneath you, the ball wasn't in play, and we got tired. You know, the ball hasn't been in play we're in our 4th overtime, the ball hasn't been in play, and we're just sitting on the grass, you know, for such a long period of time because we're tired, you know. And I think that was another thing too, was the lack of progress. And one of the judges, they were like, oh, how much progression are you expecting to get in 2 episodes? I'm like, the thing is though, this may have been 2 episodes for this season, but technically last season we had 2 more episodes. Technically we're like 4 episodes in, you know, by technical, you know, 2 seasons and 4 episodes in, you know, and you basically have to go to them and kind of nag them a bit to get a fully realized criticism, you know, instead of just kind of a vague, I thought you were good but you could have done better. Like, you have to go to them and like clarify, you know, which I know Slappy said he was gonna work on, you know. I get that. But yeah, that was just one of the many problems. There was just a lot of problems, and they started off small and they stack up on top of each other and they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and soon it was just, there were too many to handle. And so it was just easier for us to say, this is toxic and it needs to end. You know, it's stressing us out, it's stressing you out, it's just kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess. So, which is unfortunate because I don't want this video to, and I've told Slappy this personally, that this is not us hating him. Most of the girls still really like Slappy. We still really enjoy Slappy as a person. We love Slappy and we love what he's tried to do. And I really have encouraged him to do another season, learn from the mistakes of this one, and take it to that. I've offered my help for if he needs people to help video edit for him. I will do that for him if he needs it. But I just wanted to talk about kind of, you know, the contestant side of things. And, you know, some of the girls, you know, are done with Slappy. You know, they're just like, I'm over with this competition, I'm over with him, they're unprofessional. To which I say it's not Slappy. I don't think it's Slappy's fault. I don't want to say whose fault it is. It's a lot of different people's fault, I think. You know, with, you know, being done and over it. You know, some people just have really, really big personalities, and they think they're clashing too much, and so that's just gonna happen. You know, but that's all with love. You know, people have big personalities, and I still love them. And I'm not gonna call names because I'm not that type of person. They know who they are. You know, I think we all just kind of have to move on from this, but I did want to put my side out there. And I know Slappy will be making a different video with his side and his feelings. But I don't want to discourage anyone from doing Drag Battle in the future when he comes out with a new season, because he's learned from these mistakes. And the people I have met doing this experience, it's unforgettable, and I will continue talking to them. They're some of my dearest sisters. I love them very, very much. So I will continue talking to them and encouraging them. And yeah, so I mean, that's all you can really say or do. It just was a matter of circumstances that just all kind of piled against each other, and it just kind of blew up. And sometimes that happens, you know. I think that's just kind of, you know, sometimes how life happens. There's nothing we can really do about it. The only thing we can do is move forward and become better, you know. So, but yeah, I still love all my Drag Battle sisters. I still love Slappy. He knows that. I talk to him. I make sure he's okay. You know, I make sure all the girls are okay. I'm very much the mom friend. So, yeah. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, okay. I love you, kittens. Mwah. Bye.